London is this weekend, folks, and I'm quite excited for the card. Not as excited as previous UFC Londons, however, it's still a very big card, and it's on at UK local time, which is so good that I'm not staying up till 6 in the morning before going to work at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. the next day, which is just, it actually makes me feel physically like, it just makes me feel absolutely amazing. However, unlike the pay-per-view the week after, but we're going to ignore that today. Today we're going to be talking about UFC London, Tybura versus Aspinall, and we're going to kind of climb through the card. I'm not going to speak about every single fight, okay? I know there's YouTubers out there, and like MMA YouTubers specifically, that go fight by fight, card by card, but that's not how I necessarily like to do it. If it's an absolutely stacked card, I'd love to speak about every single fight in depth, but I don't have enough time in the day to go through all this card and speak about the fights that I don't really care about. However, the first one we're going to be talking about is a women's fight, so, whatever, we'll leave it at that. But after that, we're going to talk about the very, very interesting fights. And I've got a few good stories about fighters like Nathaniel Wood, etc., with my experience with them and stuff, and just how they carry themselves, that I think I'll play evident in my prediction. Unbiased predictions, straight to the point, going to give you reasons from both ends why I think each fighter could win, give you my actual prediction, and we're going to run through the card. Obviously, y'all Adesanya fans are saying make real MMA content. Absolutely, here you are. This is it. However, there is an Adesanya video coming later, but that's not the point. That's not the point. Again, if you want to support the channel, there's links down below. If you want to follow me on Instagram, links down below. And if you want to do any of that, it's all down below. But anyway, first fight we're going to speak about, right? Fellow Irish woman. I was telling my dad about this fight earlier on, and he was like, oh, right, okay, another Irish person in the UFC. First Irish woman, I believe it is. Shauna Bannon, right? I've heard good things about her from Paddy the Hooligan Houlihan. He was saying that she's a workhorse. She's got a kid. She takes her kid to school. It's like wakes up at 6, takes her kid to school, then goes home, has breakfast, and drives ages to the gym. Practice at like 11 all day, takes the kids home, does this, and then is back in the gym, and she's an absolute workhorse. She's 5-0 with 3 decisions and 2 knockouts. Ground and pound knockouts, one of them, and then a standing finish, the other one, and then the other 3 all decisions. You can't really necessarily ask for nothing but finishes from someone at 115 pounds, which Shauna Bannon is. But I'm going to take her over Bruna. What's her name? Bruna Brazil. Very easy to say. I know Brazil. I watched her fight the last Holloway card against Arnold Allen. She was on the prelims, the opening prelims, and she was knocked out in the second round. I remember that because I remember thinking, oh, well, what a great UFC debut that was. I'm going to take Bannon. I think Bannon's going to be able to hold her against the cage, take her down, land some little leg kicks. I don't feel like Brazil's going to have much for her in terms of grappling. I just think Bannon, is going to be kind of like a tougher little mentality. He'll be willing to make it a boring fight. Whereas I think Brazil as well, she maybe cracks under the pressure and Bannon takes it. I'm going to say decision for Shauna Bannon. I don't think it'll be anything special. I think it'll be a lot of missed kicks at range. I'm not completely sold on her yet. However, her coaches and all that say she's the next big thing, but obviously we'll see, because sometimes coaches just come out with that. Also, I've just noticed I'm wearing a Bellator MMA top. Please ignore that. Oh my god, that is terrible, but whatever. Bellator's in the bin. This is a very old top. I don't necessarily support Bellator anymore. And now this next fight is very interesting, because I've actually trained with Chris Duncan once before. Well, I haven't trained with him. I've been in the same room as him before. Big guy. In terms of stature, he's only about 5'8" though. He's fighting at 155 pounds. He's against Yanal Ashmorazov, right? And despite being Scottish, right, and I've spoken about this a wee bit before, he's terrible. His last fight was absolutely appalling of a performance. It was a terrible performance. He showed no ability in terms of anything being special in any department, right? The striking was bad. I remember sitting watching it last UFC London being like, recording cut out. That has never happened before. I'm so sorry my recording cut out. As I was saying, Chris Duncan, he showed nothing special. He showed a bad gas tank. He showed not much ability in terms of anything. He held his opponent up against the cage so much. One thing, please remember, that man was 37 years of age. His opponent, I don't even know his opponent, but I think, he is the favourite going into this. I think, I'm not picking him. I think he's god-awful. I don't think he's anything special. I think he's tough, but also I think he's slow. I think he's uncoordinated. I don't really have much faith in him being anything in the sport. So it's another Scottish fighter that's been completely wasted and will be nothing fantastic. Anyway, we're moving up the card. We're going to skip a few fights. I'm skipping Barberena's fight just because I don't care about it. I don't like Barberena anyway. I think people think, oh, bum Barberena, like this and that. No, I find him actually boring to watch because he's just waiting to get either outclassed by somebody or knock out a can. That's how it works. Mark J. Casey versus Joel Alvarez. I've got Joel Alvarez winning the decision. Mark J. Casey doesn't have it. He can dye his hair and he can try be a grappler some fights, and he's too hit or miss. He comes out and he looks alright. He looks like he's improving. But then his last fight against Michael Johnson, he thought he'd won. He did awful in that fight. He looked terrible. He was getting clipped to bits. He just didn't look good. He trains alongside Nathaniel Wood at Great Britain top team, and he just isn't the one. He's not, it's English fighters are so hit or miss because it's either like they have it or they just don't, and they get lost in the system a wee bit. Like, it's whenever you have somebody fighting out the UK, they've either got it or they don't got it. And it's not like America where you get this like average standard, or Brazil where you get this average standard of MMA fighter. England's either you have it or you don't, and that's it. Like, there's no in between at all. And I feel like that's the same way with the UK, etc. But anyway, I've got Mark J. Casey losing a decision or potentially being submitted in a round. Like that's essentially how my mindset goes. Next up the card, we've got Lerone Murphy versus Calibayo. I can't say his name, but I want to speak about this guy first of all. He won against Bakabakjaman by submission in his last fight, UFC 284 in February, right? I want to say this, okay? Lerone Murphy, yeah, he's been in the UFC a little bit, but I hate him. Like, I can't stand him. I know this channel is just built on hatred. I think he's a fud. I think he did alright his last fight. It was competitive, but he was given the win. I feel like this guy's going to go out there and just take him down and submit him. I feel like Lerone's good. He's got good long limbs. He's strong. He seems like he can hold himself in the clinch. But I have a feeling he's going to lose, and I just have a feeling he's going to get caught with something. And I think the UFC have really missed a trick not rebooking him and Nathaniel Wood, but Nathaniel Wood's fighting Andre Fili, so we don't even have to worry about Lerone Murphy anymore. Wood's going up. He's going to be ranked after this win, and I feel like Murphy, he might get submitted here. I feel like his leg kicks will be very good and very effective, but I think his opponent, Calibayo, might catch the kick, take him down, and we'll see. I can't say too much on this fight. I don't know much about Murphy's opponent, if I'm being 100% honest. However, I do feel like I think Murphy's going to lose. He's 12 wins, 1 draw, but I feel like he's a bit passive and he's a wee bit of he's fragile. He's literally fragile, so we'll see. Climbing up the card, Paul Craig. Oh, I hate to say this, another Scottish guy. I like him. I love his personality. I think he's a lovely man. I've been in the same room with him, been in Scotland and training in Scotland. Everyone in my gym bigs him up and says he's this great guy. He's phenomenal at jiu-jitsu. But if people in my gym are bigging him up, that means he's shite. Like, that means he's not good. He's awful. His striking is absolutely terrible. He's a great man, though. He's a great man, great personality. Truly a really nice man, but he doesn't have it striking wise. Some people just can't strike. He's so slow. It's his middleweight debut. I think he does have a very good lanky, tall middleweight frame, but he's not a striker, so it doesn't make a difference. His limbs will be long at middleweight, so that'll be good for triangles. It'll be good for all this. I think he loses by knockout in the first round and retires. Realistically, I've got him being KO'd in 1 round. I've got him KO'd being a little bit back and forth, pulling guard, trying to fall on his back, standing back up, being leg kicked to fuck, not really having an answer for anything, and then left hook over the top, or maybe a body shot. Body shots would be good. If you can avoid being clinched by Craig, body shots would work. He's got a very long torso compared to his legs as well, so that could work very well. I'm not saying no to that. Moving up the card, here we go. This is the one I wanted to speak about. Nathaniel Wood versus Andre Fili. When this was announced, I said, go on, Nathaniel. He's getting big UFC names now. Andre Fili is a known UFC vet. He's fought people like Max Holloway. He's fought all these types of people. He's a known UFC guy. Nathaniel Wood has been unbelievable last 2 fights. Destroyed Rosa with brutal leg kicks, good dirty boxing, and the exact same with Charles Jourdain. Nathaniel Wood is so fucking good at fighting. And one thing I love about Nathaniel Wood is his philosophy. He uses little energy to get where he wants and the position he wants. Just quick little movements that are so effective, and it's brilliant to see. And he's got, I think, the best leg kicks in the UFC. He set a bantamweight leg kick record against Casey Kenny, and I, in the first lockdown, went on his workout Zoom calls, and you kind of sit and speak to him for a bit after. When I tell you, a great man, and he might not be the most impressive or most explosive personality in the world. However, he's a great fighter. He knows how to fight, and he's going to come out, and I think he's going to put a clinic on against Andre Fili. I think he's going to leg kick him and jab the boy's face up and get a second round knockout. The true Nathaniel, I'm getting goosebumps. The true Nathaniel Wood coming out party. He's going to get on that mic, call for a ranked opponent, and he's going to be ranked, you know. And I say, you know, I'm not even joking. Put him against somebody, everyone. My camera keeps cutting out every single time I'm speaking about somebody I want to talk about. Nathaniel Wood's going to go out there and dominate Andre Fili. He's going to kick him in the legs, I think, knees as well. He's so good with those little knees in the clinch, and I just feel like Andre's going to crumble. The little stocky strength, the speed, the pop Nathaniel Wood has, and he also keeps a really, really fucking high guard, and I think Andre Fili's going to have to pull something out of the bag here. I feel like if you can manage to hold Nathaniel against the wall and knee him to the body a wee bit, that'd be phenomenal. But he's got unbelievable Muay Thai. He'll be giving you elbows at close range, and I think Fili doesn't have the power he used to have, and I also don't think he's got the drive for it anymore. He's been in a few wars, he's been battered around a bit. You know, he's maybe looking to pick up his last few full paychecks, maybe knowing he's not championship level caliber. Cut off again, that's fantastic, that's terrible. But anyway, moving up the card, I'm going to go Nathaniel Wood by second round knockout. I think it's going to be a dirty, bad knockout against the cage, or maybe some ground and pound elbows. I think it's going to get stopped, and Nathaniel Wood is going to be massively celebrated. And I think it's going to be this is kind of like the people's main event in my eyes, co-main event, because we're moving on to the co-main event now. Molly McCann, she's going to just win probably. She punches a bit like a man. She's got that testosterone in her. She's, you know, an angry little lesbian. I'm sure she'll do well. I don't like Molly McCann. I think she's cringe. Don't think she's got the nicest personality either. I think she's a bit just like, oh, go on, lad, shut up, lad. And that moment with her running around with the belt was the cringiest thing ever. God help Erin Blanchfield having to be in the cage with that, but she crucifixed her and elbowed her to bits for a few minutes, so that was nice to see. God bless Molly McCann, though. All due respect, I think she will win her fight this weekend. I'm not putting a bet on her, though, because it's women's MMA. It's so unpredictable. You know, they just... You know. Anyway, moving on. I've got Tom Aspinall winning the main event. I've got Tom Aspinall winning the main event against Tybura. I think he's going to be faster. Just jab him, step back, jab him again, step back. He's lighter though, which makes me a bit curious of how well he'll be able to take a shot. You know, he doesn't have that meat around his neck anymore. He's still a big fat-headed man though, so I'm sure he'll be absolutely fine. His knee's doing better. He's 100% going into this. I think he's gonna have little quick snappy jabs at Tybura and then get a nice little inside trip. And I'm gonna go Tom Aspinall first round rear naked choke. I think he's gonna jab him up against the cage. They're gonna get into a little bit of a scramble. I think Aspinall's gonna shoot a double leg. Tybura's gonna defend it, and Aspinall's gonna come right round his back, straight onto his back. And I think it's gonna be a quick little submission rear naked choke. I think it's gonna be a phenomenal little bouncy Aspinall. He's going to jab him a load, get him in that rear naked choke, and finish it within a round. I think remembering the 3-minute 40 mark, something like that. There's going to be maybe a few teeps from Tybura, and Tybura's going to try like dirty box him a wee bit, but should be a really good fight. Polish versus English. And who knew Tom Aspinall spoke Polish? That's a very cool thing to know. But anyway, thanks very much for watching this video, folks. I've got Tom Aspinall winning the main event, Nathaniel Wood winning, Paul Craig losing, Lerone Murphy losing, and, you know, Chris Duncan losing as well. Then we've got the new Shauna Bannon. I'm excited to see her fight, so I'll see you Saturday. We're going to be doing a live fight companion for the fights, and I'm very excited to do that. So it'll be my first big companion stream. We're going to be going over the whole event, and I'm very excited for it. So I will see you all there. Stay tuned, and goodbye, folks.